Many thanks to the member of our congregation who are here today for allowing us to kick off the year and using your church. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And I am looking forward to hearing all of the singing and all of the celebration, not just today, but throughout this entire year, because Woburn is one place in America that has a lot to celebrate. It is one of the greatest places that exists on the planet, and it is my honor to be here with you. Happy birthday, Woburn.
The general court of the day held that an organization of a church was a major factor in establishing a town, and securing minister was of the utmost importance. After research, Mr. Thomas Carter of Watertown, a graduate of Cambridge University in England, was chosen as the first pastor of the first church.
They were to build homes for habitation, a place to worship the Lord God, and to create a town. They were given the authority to admit peoples and families as they saw fit in order to populate and to build.
This road is one of Woburn's oldest relics, and it is a relic. And it is dedicated on this day. The road holds a special place in Woburn's history, in Massachusetts history, and in this country's history. It was the starting point for 265 Woburn Sons of Liberty. They started their march to freedom here, and the freedom will share today, as we share today on Patriots' Day.
The road was old at the time of the Revolution. It was one of the first 4 public ways laid out by the founders and first settlers of Woburn in 1644. It was originally called Sawpit Lane, so called, it is thought, because it was used to transport wood and lumber from a sawmill of William Johnson, one of the first settlers, who owned land on the north side of the road. Stone walls, of course, often marked property lines in colonial days. And these stone walls, the public is about to see, the stone walls down there, were built most likely in the 1640s or 1650s, and were thus well over 100 years old by 1775.
It was early in the morning on April 19th when the Stedman's Express rider came, and suddenly my entire world had changed. We were awoken and told that the British were en route from Cambridge to Concord. As we marched to Lexington, we heard a great firing before we got there. We had no idea what it was. It sounded as if the entire earth shook, and thought the Lord God Jehovah himself might be coming back. But as we arrived on the green and the common in Lexington, we had seen that there was a bloody, bloody battle that had taken place. The Woburn men were so incredibly on fire that day with their muskets that one in particular, Daniel Thompson, whose brother Samuel was one of the diarists of Woburn here, and his other brother Abijah, who was with him that day, he was so accurate with his musket that British officers pointed him out to be shot. Woburn's men went with Washington that day. I was fortunately promoted from major to colonel, but there were many others who had greater honors. Men from Woburn were part of Washington's personal guard. Not anyone, not just anyone got to be part of that guard, but there were men from Woburn who were chosen. And Woburn's history began back in 1640 and continues today with a rich history. And as a ghost from the past, as a voice from the past, I'm so proud to see that you have not forgotten what we did in 1775. Thank you.
Tom Coots. And I would like to thank Tom Coots, and this is the Charlestown Militia, some of the members. They have 2 other events today at Lexington and I believe Concord, or the Lexington Minuteman Park. It is appropriate as we celebrate the 375th anniversary of the city that we are paying tribute to its oldest treasure, the first burial ground. This ancient outdoor museum is one of the oldest in the Commonwealth and holds the remains of our founding citizens. The 1.6-acre burial ground was established by the first parish in 1642. Among the distinguished dead are Woburn's first 4 ministers, military heroes, and colonial descendants of 8 United States presidents: Franklin Pierce, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, George Herbert Walker Bush, and George Walker Bush. There are 15 Revolutionary War soldiers buried here. Daniel Thompson, the first soldier killed in the Revolutionary War on April 19, 1775, as well as the first civilian, Ashel Porter, a non-combatant, who was captured by the British on that day, released, but when he was sent home, he ran actually, and they shot him in the back. They were buried together 2 days later here at the burial ground. The largest family grouping in this cemetery is the Richardsons, with over 50 remaining stones. The Baldwin family is represented with the obelisk at the top of the hill. That is a tomb that holds between 13 and 15 Baldwins, including the original founders and signers, Henry Baldwin of the town orders. The burial ground is not a playground, a shortcut, or a place for dogs to roam. It is Woburn's oldest treasure, and it should be treated as such, and so it will be here for another 375 years. Every stone tells a story, and as you walk through this hallowed ground, it tells the story of Woburn. Thank you. This is the centennial of World War I in the United States, when the United States entered World War I on April 6, 1917. The children did great drawings of poppies, which you know are the remembrance flowers for World War I, and they did many drawings of us military.